It's all good. Alrighty. Howdy, everybody. Woo! Hell yeah! I knew it. I knew you were gonna do that. Oh man, I am so happy to be here. All I gotta say is good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good everything. Happy birthday, happy anniversary, happy whatever you're celebrating. I am just so glad everybody's here in the moment. Whether you're here in person, online, I really appreciate your time, your effort, and trust me, we're gonna make this a great presentation. I'm really hoping that you guys get into the motto that I'm gonna be showcasing and the appeal of the importance of this topic that is towards me. So one of the things that I want to begin is giving this quote from an amazing philosopher from the 18th century, Immanuel Kant. And what he says is two things. Oh, really? You're good. All right. Anyways, so the quote says, just to read out loud for y'all, two things fill the mind with ever new and increasing admiration and awe. The more often and more steadily we reflect upon them. The starry heavens above us and the moral law within me. So, given this quote, what I want to talk to you guys about is more of the ethical appeal of why accessibility is so important, why it's such a topic that is very relevant to when it comes to technology, when it comes to the journey that you guys are doing, whether you're starting the journey into dev, whether you're currently working towards it, or you're already in a job. It is very important to really think about why we're doing it. And so one of the things that I want to make sure that it's a takeaway from this talk is be an ally first. So accessibility, we tend to pretty much give it the acronym A11Y, mainly because accessibility has 11 letters in between A and Y, but also because it spells out ally. So the main appeal that I want to make for y'all is be an ally first when it comes to creating, developing applications or creating solutions to the world. And so the agenda for today is mainly to give you a compelling case as to why we need accessibility. Where can we begin? Some tools that will help you. What role can you assume? And most importantly, to humor my friend Brandon Hamilton, right there. Right there. I just want to make sure that he has a great time. So, without further ado, let's talk about why accessibility. Why do we are even concerned about it? So we're going to talk more into the ethical side of it, the pathological side of it, and the logical side. So we're gonna make the arguments of accessibility is the right thing, it's the smart thing, and it's the law. So what I mean by the right thing or the ethical case is that we want equal access to information for everybody. So the internet is no longer a luxury. Maybe about 30 years ago, it definitely was very scarce and ever evolving. But nowadays, it is used for everything. It's used to apply for jobs. It's used to connect with people. It's used to look into healthcare, be able to do your day-to-day task. It connects us. And so depriving that, it's such a horrible thing to do. And morally speaking, and that moral law that I see in Kant's words, we want to make sure that we provide that when working with technology, when we're providing the solutions that we want for people. We want to have and give respect and dignity to human kindness, to humanity, as well as spread diversity. Because one of the things that we want to take away from Kant is people are not tools, or people are not ends to they meet to an end. We don't think in a Machiavellian way. We think more in a progressive way, in a way that we have a duty to protect ourselves, to pretty much respect each other. And so when you create accessible applications, you're able to essentially create that bridge, that way to show respect towards people, show that you care about the needs and the ways that they can access your product. There is the social responsibility from both the developers and the businesses. So there's what we call corporate social responsibility, or CSR. You may hear that every now and then, but essentially there is a moral duty or a civic duty for businesses to ensure that we get things done the right way. So before I show that statistics, does anyone know, or does anyone want to guess how many people in the US alone has a type of disability? And it can be pretty much a permanent disability or a partial. So I saw one hand over there.
Over 61 million Americans.
Yes, sir. You got it right there. Totally because you didn't see. No. Couldn't be because of that. Nah. But good eye. That's all I gotta say. But yes, over 61 million Americans are diagnosed with some type of disability. That is 1 in 4 adults. That's 25% of the US population, or 25% of potential audience in the US alone. And this is not including people who have partial disabilities or temporary disabilities, such as a hurt arm or pretty much an eye having issues, what have you. So it's kind of like diminishing that number, but it's very important to recognize that those people exist. That's 25% of potential audience that you might be losing. So that's where we go into the business case or the pathological case. It is a way to create a market outreach, be able to reach to a untapped potential of customers, untapped potential audience that you really want to integrate into your product or whatever you're developing. It is also something that helps with what we call search optimization, search engine optimization, because at the end of the day, it's a bot that, for example, with Google, it just tries to capture as much information as possible. It tries to tell you, this is pretty much the content of this website or this application, and you want to optimize that the most you can. And with accessibility in mind, you're able to pretty much kind of cater into that, be able to design it in such a way that is like, yeah, makes sense to the robot, it makes sense, and it'll just make it look a lot better. And on the last point as well, it enhances the brand and reputation of any business. It just makes sense that when you're reaching out to that 25% of people, that additional 25% audience, you're able to create amazing experiences, amazing bonds with them, and they will respect you. They will definitely make sure that say, yeah, this brand, they care about me. I know, it's a bit optimistic, but but at the same time, it's one of those things that you have to keep in mind as an individual and as someone who represents a company or represents yourself, is that people will have that respect, that mutual respect, if you're able to pretty much cater that into it. And then finally, we have the legal case. In many companies, especially when they are funded by the government or the state, they are required to pretty much meet certain criteria to make websites or applications accessible. So this one, it's more of an ultimatum. So if you are pretty much someone who gets funded by the government or is about to, yeah, you should definitely consider accessibility. So in case that there's not that ethical appeal, well, guess what? We're going to sue you if you don't. But a couple examples of why that is the case is because we have what's called Section 508 from the Rehabilitation Act of 1973, which was pretty much kind of got an amendment not too long ago that allows to tell more about the guidelines on the digital creation or digital content. Same goes with the Americans with Disabilities Act that also states what's important, what things are required as a minimum. And I threw an example with Texas as well. Texas also has the code 2054, which just allows people to say, yeah, if you're funded by Texas, you are required to do things for accessibility. So now that we established some of the cases as to why, where can we actually start? So the most important thing in accessibility, and this is pretty much kind of like assuming that y'all are either like starting into accessibility itself, or you're kind of familiar with it, but essentially there are 4 major criteria that you want to keep in mind. And I'm just going to keep them as a summary, just because there's so much content about it, but we'll go into that. We're going to try and identify what type of audiences you kind of want to target when it comes to working with accessibility. Identify the type of work that you're going to do. And later on, I'll talk a little bit more about your role, or the role of the people that are involved in it. Because it's not just the developers, there's also involvement for designers, involvement for sales, involvement for leadership, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll talk briefly about that later. So the 4 core categories, or the 4 most important things to know about accessibility, is this right here. Being able to perceive, operate, understand, and have robust solutions. So when we have a perceivable product, what we mean is, can the users perceive, or they're able to interact with the content in such a way that it makes sense. Same goes with observable. Is it easy enough for someone who may have some sort of cognitive disability to navigate through your content and understand what's going on? The same argument goes with understandable and robust. That one is a little bit more tricky, but essentially means you got to make sure that technology is up to date, that whatever you're using, whether it be JavaScript, whether it be C#, what have you, that it follows all the standards that are up to date, because there might be things that deprecate, or new things that make it a lot easier, safer, et cetera, et cetera. That is still part of accessibility. So who is the most affected into this? So we have 4 different types of disabilities in general that we kind of recognize in web accessibility. So those are for vision, for auditory, physical, or cognitive disabilities. The most common ones are people with low vision, partial blindness, complete blindness, people who have partial deaf or complete deafness, people who are not able to operate things because they might be missing arms, or their arm doesn't operate in such a way that they can use a mouse, so it's pretty much keyboard navigation. Cognitive, this one's a little bit more tricky, but one good example would be people who are susceptible to epilepsy. So if your website has certain things that flash or trigger that type of deal, yeah, you want to make sure that you solve that as soon as possible. So some of the most common pitfalls into that, into accessibility when it comes to development, are just lower contrast text, or you're missing context about the image itself, links that make no sense, they might be empty, or they have very vague language such as click here, read more, etc. Missing input labels, or validation, etc., etc. So now that we talked a little bit more about where to start identifying that, let's actually play with some tools. Now, as a caveat, most of those tools are like things that I'm just gonna demo for like a minute or so. We can go into that later on in a workshop, but for now, for this presentation, I would love to just make it as quickly as possible for y'all. So hopefully you can hear
Toggle checkbox checked.
this voice. So this is what we call MBDA. And apologies to those who are in the live stream. You might not be able to hear the voice, but this essentially is a voice that allows users with no visibility, or users that have difficulties pretty much seeing what's going on, get a context into navigating into a website. So I'm going to use this beautifully designed website that just rocks, but
out of list main landmark heading level 1, out of highlighted heading level 1, out of
as you can hear,
cats are awesome.
it pretty much tells you what's going on. And if I go into the tool itself, go into tools, and then this, I'll give you more context what's going on. So
out of highlighted graphic heading level 1, visit this content info landmark. No next graphic.
So pretty much as I press buttons, it allows me to navigate and understand where are things. So for example, if I go Shift G,
Main landmark map graphic.
it goes to the previous graphic. If I go with L,
Content info landmark list
it goes to the next landmark or link. If I press I,
Accessibility statement visited
Yeah.
same page link.
it goes to the next visited
Side
link,
map.
etc., etc. So this is pretty much how NVIDIA works. It's a free tool.
Exit. Exit Windows. Okay.
Yeah, goodbye. Goodbye. You were a great friend, but alas, I knew you. I knew the, but were you able to see that in? Oh man, dang it! I just realized, but yeah. Oh yeah. You totally. That's exact. That's the aim. Yeah. That. See, that was 4D chess right there. I wanted y'all to experience a voice first before looking at the beautiful website. So another tool that I'm gonna be showing y'all, if I find my mouse, it's gonna be right here. It is called Site Improve. So let me go into that. So if I click into this plugin, it's actually going to tell me a couple of the existing issues of the website. As you can see, it's a perfect website. It totally has no issues. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about everything that says or shows in here. The most important thing that I want to show with Site Improve, and as a caveat, while this tool gives you a general idea as to what the issues are, it doesn't cover everything, and it doesn't, tell you automatically, oh, this is the way that you can fix it. It can give you suggestions. It can pinpoint you to, the direction as to where that's happening, but it's not gonna, be a solution for everything. But it's a helpful tool to just identify those things. One of the things that I love about this tool, and by the way, this is a free Chrome and Firefox extension, so just look for Site Improve, is the ability to change the type of color blindness. So you're able to say, oh, so this is how they perceive it with the red-green blindness. Same goes with the blue-yellow, even though this one is a lot more rare. Yeah, it happens. That's how you're able to see the content. And as you may see in this screen, it's very difficult to already see the links. So imagine how it is when someone has this type of blindness. So this tool allows you to kind of have that visual, do more manual testing overall. And the other tool that I want to show, it is, and by the way, shout outs to my friend Mika, who should be somewhere around here, right there. Yeah, she works for DQ, and you should definitely reach out to her, mainly because she knows a lot better than me with this tool. But essentially, if you go into Chrome DevTools and download the Axe DevTool plugin, you're able to pretty much have the ability to do a full scan or do kind of like an AI scan. And by the way, this pretty much fills out the AI requirement for this talk. So you can punch your card on that. Because remember, after the 10th AI tool or AI thing that you talk about, Danny will give you free ice cream. No, I'm lying. It's actually 100. So just keep in mind. Don't quote me on that. Don't. But there you go. What I did was I did a full scan, and it tells me how many issues are there. It gives me a general suggestion as to what to do with the code base, how to approach it and fix it. So overall, not too bad. And I wish I could go more into that into this, but unfortunately I only have like 6 minutes left. So we're going to speed run through as much of what we got left as possible. So let me do that. Should be back to the tools. So already talked to you about these tools. So what should we do? Well, now that we know some of the tools, the arguments about it, what is my role? What is my responsibility? So when you're a front-end developer, you're literally the frontline defense to work on these items. You are pretty much the spearhead to the idea of making things accessible, being able to say, we have to do this because it's the right thing. It is a smart thing, and it can be the law, depending on how you work with your place. And one common misconception is that back-end developers don't have to do anything at all with with accessibility, but actually they have some ways. to pretty much help, and that is pretty much creating a good foundation of their API because people do certain APIs are exposed to the public, so they have to be consumed in some way, and they have to make sure that that information is both valid and easy to understand. Same goes with them being advocates for it, just because it's not like their direct role or their direct responsibility. They still have to do some work into that. Same goes with designers. One of the things that is kind of like a misconception too is just because I need to make this accessible means that I have to sacrifice aesthetics, which is kind of an incorrect way to approach it. It's more of having to have a holistic approach, a holistic view as to how to pretty much make that balance. And then with the leadership, it's all about creating that environment that accepts and embraces accessibility as a very core to the engineering team, and something that they should be pretty much encouraging and not think of it as a second thought or just leave it behind. It's a very important thing to always keep in mind. So I have a couple of misconceptions. I'm just gonna go real quick on them. So they say that accessibility is hard. It's not really that hard to implement, and especially with the tools that I show you. They give you really good suggestions. They give you an idea as to how to approach it, how to fix them. There are guidelines that help you everywhere. There are communities that allow you to get more of an understanding. Accessibility is ugly. It makes websites very ugly. Well, again, with the holistic approach, you have to pretty much know that you don't have to sacrifice aesthetics just to make things accessible. On the contrary, it actually challenges that and makes you really good at pretty much finding the right balance, the right in between. Accessibility is for a small audience, not really, because again, the statistics. And by the way, worldwide, according to the WHO, it's 1 billion people who have some sort of disability. That's 1 in 8. So 16% of global audience. So that's not a small audience to me, if you ask me. And then the most common one is, it's not my problem. Well, with the arguments that I brought earlier, and with the idea of that moral law within ourselves, within our duty to humanity, it definitely isn't. And also because there's more cases into it, and the biggest one, of course, is, well, it could be the law. So you want to get sued? You go for it. No, but anyways, who am I really to talk about it? So everybody calls me Elder, and I'm pretty much a tech lead at Innovation Associates. I am pretty much experienced with more than 10 years on accessibility auditing and fixing. I've worked with universities, Google, and CVS to pretty much get their material pretty much up to standards with WCAG. I have over 200 websites that I've worked on in the past, and overall I'm just kind of a menace. So I mean that last point is just just a warning more than anything. But with that being said, I just wanted to give you all some resources. So after this talk, we should have the slides available to the public, so y'all can look at the notes that I've taken, the resources that are available. So no need for anything else. It also has some resources. A really good website that I recommend here is DQ University. Again, shout out to Mika. Look after her to get more info. This GitHub repository also has inaccessible websites that you can use to test your skills and abilities into it. And finally, I really appreciate you. I really don't have any socials, so I'm just gonna shout out to my girlfriend, Xiaoming Dai. I'm gonna shout out my boy, Brandon, who I'm really hoping that I gave him a really good time. My friend Belle, right here, Josh, David, Jay, everybody who attended. I really appreciate every single one of you, because I'm really pleased with that. Also, shout outs to my home country of Sweden. Thank you, that's it.